Well, round one for Hideki Matsuyama was good until we got to 18 of 3M Open. He began the day with 5 straight pars, but then things got dicey there on that par 5, that tee shot, into the water. So let's go to a little dirty here. Shot here, taking a penalty shot, and then this one, it looks like it's going all the way to the green, but nope, back in the water. So that's 2 so far. Here's his third one here. This is basically a full sleeve of balls at this point for most of us that teed up on the weekends. Bounces right back into the water, not what you want to see for him. Finished with a 77 with also WD after a wrist injury there for Matsuyama. He wasn't the only one that struggled. How about this? Big Beautiful, a.k.a. Harry Higgs, was pretty solid until he got to 18 as well. You see that? That is not a mistake. Finished with a 10 on 18 and 2 over on the day. He's one of those guys sitting outside the 125, the top 125 when it comes to that chase at 142 for a.k.a. Big Beautiful. Tapping in now, the guru of the greens, Doug Bell, on the course for us. And Doug, you had a chance to walk the course yesterday. You're there now, of course. How much of the win was a big factor for the guys in round one based on what you saw there?
Brandon, it was a huge factor. You know, it's interesting. They call this area the land of 1,000 lakes. There's 27 lakes on this property. You can see one behind me. The good news is the wind keeps all the mosquitoes away. If not for that, it would be terrible out here. The bad news is it does wreak havoc with these players, especially those who played later in the day. You mentioned Harry Higgs. The wind was blowing like 25 miles per hour, and he plunked 3 in the water. Now, Hideki did it earlier in the day, but again, he's playing the par 5 18th, that huge lake down the right side, and wind just sweeps across the property there at 18. And of course, Hideki, it was the worst round of the year, a 77, and then he has that mysterious wrist injury and withdraws. And we won't see Hideki again until the playoffs. But yes, the wind was blowing players all over the golf course. If you played early, you took advantage, and that's why those guys early who play late today, we'll see if they can follow up with another good round, because the wind is going to be a huge factor here in round 2.
The wind was no problem for Sungjae in there. Finished at 6 under in time for first heading into round 2. What did you see from him in those early rounds there?
Well, he's the machine. He steals the name from Albert Pujols, and he is a very consistent player off the tee, and certainly his iron play. But the putter has let him down lately. He's missed a couple of cuts, and he told me yesterday, again, it's broken English, but you can really communicate with Sungjae. He looked on the video screen and saw that he was bringing his putting stroke too far on the inside. It's intricate for these players, but they find these little things, and so now he's changed his stroke. It's more like a railroad track, straight back, straight through. It resulted yesterday in his best putting round in the second half of the season, birdied 4 of his last 6 holes, and Sungjae is in a good spot heading into round 2. Very happy with his putting yesterday. And keep in mind now, the international team in September for the President's Cup, you got Cam Smith 1, Hideki 2, Sungjae 3. So I think that international team looks pretty solid. Getting ahead of myself, but I'm looking forward to that President's Cup.
See those 7 birdies there for Sungjae. Similar card when it comes to Scott Piercy, by the way. Back in 2019, he was also at the top of that leaderboard in the same tournament here. The only blemish on that card was the bogey on 9, but thoughts of what you saw from him yesterday?
Well, Scott Piercy has been a consistent money winner for about a decade out here on the PGA Tour, but this season has not been good. Arguably the worst that he's had. He missed a lot of cuts here recently. He is not in the FedEx Cup playoffs right now, so Scott plans on playing this week, next week in Detroit, and then in Greensboro to end the season and hopefully get in that top 125. Yesterday was his best round in a long, long time. And again, he took advantage of those serene conditions in the morning. We'll see if Scott can keep it going in the afternoon when the wind is blowing. And Brandon, here's the deal. If he can get it done this week, he won't worry about Detroit. He won't worry about Greensboro. That's what the pressure really mounts on these guys, is they're trying to make the playoffs. They don't have any tournaments left. But Scott Piercy will try to get the ball or continue to keep the ball rolling today here at TPC Twin Cities.
You mentioned missing the cut in 4 of his last 6. That has been the case. He's failed to miss the weekend, so hopefully this is a different story this time around there at TPC Twin Cities. Very few guys, Doug, will be happy to shoot in the 70s, but that's the case for Jeff Overton. First PGA Tour event in 5 years, finished with a 77. Said this after his round yesterday. I went from enjoying the time of my life before injury to fighting for my life with the injury, and I've never been so happy to shoot 77 before today. Your thoughts on seeing him for the first time in 5 years? I know you had a chance to check him out.
Brandon, it was so good to see Jeff Overton. When you think back 5 years ago, he was a stalwart on the PGA Tour, a top 30 guy, played in the Tour Championship, was a star performer on a victorious Ryder Cup team. He was knocking on the door virtually every week. His name was always on the first or second page of the leaderboard, and then befell by a serious back injury. Multiple surgeries has set him backwards. Thanks to a sponsor's exemption, he's here this week. He was so happy to be out yesterday playing with his friends. It's been a long, long time. He's the Indiana Hoosier, the only guy on the PGA Tour from the University of Indiana. I hope his comeback continues. He'll be on the Korn Ferry Tour. He's going to miss the cut. He's gained a little weight over the last 5 years, but he looks so happy, Brandon. It's a comeback story that hasn't gotten a lot of publicity, but we'll be following it here on CBS Sports HQ. Jeff Overton, hopefully he'll get back to where he was 5 years ago.
Yeah, you're speaking about 5 years, 300 starts from 2005 to 2017. So maybe this kickstarts it into the future here this weekend at the 3M. As always, Doug Bell, appreciate your time breaking it down there for us in Minnesota. Hopefully the weather stays maintained for the rest of the weekend there. Don't forget this Saturday and Sunday, we got you covered on CBS starting at 3 p.m. The coverage there at TVC Twin Cities, also on Paramount Plus.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.